To prepare you for what I'm going to talk about, it has to be said that the character we're going to analyze is the human madness par excellence. Unfortunately, there are some in the world, but this man probably is the craziest. It's easy to see that this man is suffering from a mental illness, but you will understand much better after hearing the story. Who is Headhorse? From the name, you can understand that he is a man with a horse head. He has a long knife that he uses to cut dead bodies and kill people, all in his house. Scary, isn't it? To better understand, however, we have to go back in time and understand his origins. His name is Jason. His family are not known. He grew up an orphan without parents. What we do know is that he has Spanish ancestry. He was a child always very confident. Because of the lack of education, he grew up using violence. Ever since he was a child, he's been beating to feel superior. But he wasn't bad. One merit he always had was to read a lot. He loved to read books on culture, art, and history. When he was a boy, he was inquiring about everything because he wanted to be superior to others. He always wanted to win, to know everything. This, however, led him to develop an ego too strong, and when ego plays a major role in our lives, our perception of ourselves is distorted by reality. It means, for example, that if we believe ourselves to be particularly gifted in performing something, at the moment when it happens to us to make mistakes or to make less than other moments, we will feel shaken, sad, uncomfortable, even envious of those who for once are managed to achieve good results, going so far as to trivialize the success of others. Despite the desire to read, he never went to study. At the age of 18, he began working in a workshop as a mechanic. It was a job he really liked. Jason once risked drowning to death. He had gone to the sea, and the current had almost killed him. They rescued him in the hospital. Jason had taken a risk. From that day, he began to inquire about the subject of death, and he liked it a lot. He studied all the ways in which men could die, and he wanted to try. He was obsessed with the man's death, but he had never seen a man die. He decided he would do it. Jason is a very strong man. He's been training since he was a boy because he wanted to be, as we said, the strongest of them all. So he had the skills to kill someone. One night, he decided to go out and strangle someone. He killed a woman that night. Jason realized that he had benefited from this horrible act. Over the next few days, he tried other methods, and so he killed other people. He tried many methods to assassinate, but he concluded that the thing he loved the most was stabbing people. His favorite action was when he had cut off a man's head. Jason decided he wanted to try again, but in another way, maybe with an animal. He loved horses. From an early age, he admired them. As a child, Jason was good at imitating the horse's sound. One day, he went in a horse stable. Yes, he was just crazy. He managed to cut off a horse's head without being seen. When he got home, he turned the head into a mask, the mask he's wearing. So began the period when his madness reached its climax. Jason trained to make the sound of the horse, and he did it very well. But how did other people see him? Jason had his moments of madness when he was alone. The moment he went to work, he looked like a normal person. He was a person who had no friends. Also because he had a bad temper. That is, to want to be superior to others. He had an affair with a woman when he was 18. but it didn't last long. Jason, in fact, didn't know how to be with other people. He was fine on his own. Jason didn't drink alcohol. He didn't like it. Instead, he preferred to take drugs and drink a lot of coffee. In fact, he hardly sleeps. Jason, however, after a while, realized that what he was secretly doing would send him to jail. So he realized he was crazy. It's weird that a madman realizes he's crazy, probably because Jason has always been a smart person. Then, a short time later, he visited a psychiatrist who gave him a medication to take. They were very strong medicines that could show hallucinations. When Jason took them, he started to see a fantastic world around him, and above all, he forgot what he wanted to stop doing. That is, murder. After earning enough money, he bought a new house, a house in the middle of the woods, isolated. Out of the house, he made a work garden with workshop equipment. He enjoyed building and repairing things. In this house, he kept taking the psychiatrist's medication. It was a kind of drug for him. He loved them. But why? Well, because they showed him a beautiful, imaginative world with many colors. Jason continuously felt the inner benefits. In the house, he could finally wear his horse mask. He always kept it on, all the time. He really liked it. Jason, now completely crazy, decided to quit his job and live with what he had. He began murdering people and bringing them into the house. Cutting up bodies was his favorite activity. He also put up paintings depicting violent scenes. In the garden, he built an electric wall in such a way that no one could escape. In the attic, there is a room where there are many drawings. This definitely makes you think there was a baby. But who was the child? He was an orphaned child. Jason abducted him from an orphanage and took him to his house. He locked him in a room with a toilet and a bed. He just let him draw. Headhorse kept the child more than 5 months. After that, he killed him. In this room, you can see the drawings that the child made. In all, you see a black figure with eyes, and the other stylized figures showing slain children and blood. Jason probably forced him to make those drawings. Sometimes, Jason would bring more than one victim home. He enjoyed seeing them scared, that they tried in every way to escape. He grants 5 days to the victims. After that, he cuts off their head, or uses a large saw to kill them. As we know, Jason sees a completely different world. For example, the body parts he keeps in the fridge, he sees a sparkling refrigerator. And even when he kills, he's immersed in another world. He doesn't really understand what he's doing. The unfortunate people who make their way through the woods at night, well, they could be kidnapped and murdered by Headhorse. Some, however, manage to save themselves. But where exactly does Jason kill people? Well, when he decides to kill the victim, he does it in a secret room that closes with a code. Inside, it's horrible. There's the table with a circular saw where the victims are killed. Usually, after death, the body is cut, and, as you can see, he keeps hands, feet, heads, and even eyes. But Jason likes it, because he sees beautiful things. He doesn't see reality. Another part of his house is the cellar. It is a secret part that he uses to store food, wine, and various objects. Among these are torture tools that Jason used a while ago. Even when he was a boy, he had studied the instruments of torture. There are also cells with beds, and as evidenced by a letter, Jason also kept the victims in the cells. But now, he likes to use his knife and saw. The only purpose he has in this miserable life is to go out and look for new victims to take home and kill them. He doesn't need anything else. He's so happy.